Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati-ruttama-shloke Bhaktir-bhavati naishtike Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena Tasmai Shri-gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya-manobhishtam Sthapitam yena bhutale Swayam Rupa-kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna-prishtaya bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyadesh Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. We're reading from Canto 3, Chapter 19, The Killing of the Demon Hiryanaksa. So, yesterday we have seen Sutta Goswami now concluding the narration, Sutta Uvacha, Iti Kausharava Akhyatam. So, the Kausharava, who is Maitreya Muni, is narrating this pastime to Kshatta Vidura, who himself is a Mahabhagavata. And this is how they attained a great happiness by discussing this wonderful pastime of Lord Varāha. So we come to text 34. Anyesham punya shlokanam uddam yashasam satam upashrutya bhaven modah srivatsankasya kim punah. Translation.
What to speak of hearing the pastimes of the Lord, whose chest is marked with Srivatsa? People may take transcendental pleasure even in hearing of the works and deeds of the devotees whose fame is immortal. Purport: Bhagavatam literally means the pastimes of the Lord and the Lord's devotees. For example, there are pastimes of Lord Krishna and narrations of devotees like Prahlada, Dhruva, and Maharaj Ambarisha. Both pastimes pertain to the Supreme Personality of Godhead because the devotees' pastimes are in relation with him. The Mahabharata, for example, the history of the Pandavas and their activities is sacred because the Pandavas had a direct relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna.
Beautiful words. So, what to speak of the hearing of the pastimes of Lord Srivatsa? Even the devotees' pastimes, because they are in connection with the Lord, these pastimes also one can attain great transcendental pleasure. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, Bhagavatam literally means pastimes of the Bhagavan and Bhakta. So this is the pastimes of the Lord and his devotees. Lord cannot remain without devotees, he is Bhakta Vatsala, and devotees cannot remain without the Lord. And therefore, their pastimes are inseparable. You cannot have a pastime of the Lord without taking name of a devotee. You cannot glorify Narasimhadev without glorifying Prahlad Maharaj. So, these pastimes especially, these are narrations of devotees as well. So, Prahlad, Dhruva, Maharaj Ambarish, or the Pandavas, they are very intimately connected. They have direct relationship with the Supreme Lord, and therefore their pastimes are non-different than the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, when we will attain same transcendental pleasure by hearing the pastimes of devotees as well. Text 35. Yogajendram jashagrastam dhyayantam charanambujam kroshantinam kare nunam kritsyato mochadatam. Translation.
Translation. The personality of Godhead delivered the king of the elephants, who was attacked by an alligator and who meditated upon the lotus feet of the Lord. At that time, the female elephants who accompanied him were crying, and the Lord saved them from the impending danger. Purport: the example of the elephant in danger who was saved by the Supreme Lord is especially cited here because even if one is an animal, he can approach the personality of Godhead in devotional service, whereas even a demigod cannot approach the Supreme Person unless he is a devotee. Hare Krishna.
Now Gajendra, Yo Gajendra's Jashagrastam. Jasha means the alligator. So Jashagrastam, he was attacked by the alligator, and all the female elephants, they were crying, and the Lord delivered Gajendra here. And Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, the example of the elephant in danger is saved is because even if animal approaches the Supreme Lord in devotional service, can be saved. Whereas when maybe a demigod, but if he doesn't approach to the Supreme Lord, he cannot, unless he becomes a devotee, he cannot approach the Supreme Lord. So therefore, one has to be in the process of devotional service to achieve complete shelter of the personality of Godhead. Text 36. Tam sukharadhyam rujubher ananyasharanirnubhe kritagnya kona seveta duraradhyam asadhuvi.
What grateful soul is there who would not render his loving service to such a great master as the personality of Godhead? The Lord can be easily pleased by spotless devotees who resort exclusively to him for protection, though the unrighteous man finds it difficult to propitiate him. Purport: every living entity, especially persons in the human race, must feel grateful for the benedictions offered by the grace of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, anyone with a simple heart of gratefulness must be Krishna conscious and offer devotional service to the Lord. Those who are actually thieves and rogues do not recognize or acknowledge the benedictions offered to them by the Supreme Lord, and they cannot render him devotional service. Ungrateful persons are those who do not understand how much benefit they are deriving by the arrangement of the Lord. They enjoy the sunshine and moonshine, and they get water free of charge, yet they do not feel grateful, but simply go on enjoying these gifts of the Lord. Therefore, they must be called thieves and rogues. Hare Krishna.
So now we are in the concluding phase of the pastime of this chapter. Now here Sudha Goswami says, what grateful soul is there who would not render his loving service unto such a great master as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, where the Lord is very easily pleased by the activities of his spotless devotees. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes that every living entity, and especially the human being, they must feel grateful for the benedictions offered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Grateful for what? Grateful for everything. You know, the air we breathe, the sunshine, moonshine, Prabhupada writes here, the water being made available, the entire arrangement of the universe, which is made available even to the conditioned soul who has actually rebelled against the Supreme Lord and has rejected the kingdom of the Supreme Lord and come here. But Lord has not rejected him. So simple heart of gratefulness, Prabhupada says, he must be Krishna conscious. He must be the conscious of the Lord and thus offering devotional service unto him. And this is the basic gratitude one should express. And the best way to express one's gratitude is to become devotee of the Lord. Text 37, 38. Now, these two verses, there is amazing Farashruti being narrated here. So we'll recite these two verses. Yo vai Hiranyākṣa mahadbhutam.
Yo vai Hiranyākṣa mahadbhutam
Vikredutam karana sukaratmanah.
विक्रीडितं कारणसुकरात्मनः
शृणोति गायन्ति अनुमोदतेञ्जसा
शृणोति गायन्ति अनुमोदतेञ्जसा
विमुच्यते ब्रह्मवदादपि द्विजाः
विमुच्यते ब्रह्मवदादपि द्विजः.
Translation.
O Brahmanas, anyone who hears, chants, or takes pleasure in the wonderful narration of the killing of the Hiryanaksa demon by the Lord, who appeared as the first Boar in order to deliver the world, is at once relieved of the results of the sinful activities, even the killing of a Brahmana. Purport. Since the personality of Godhead is in the absolute position, there is no difference between his pastimes and his personality. Anyone who hears about the pastimes of the Lord associates with the Lord directly, and one who associates directly with the Lord is certainly freed from all sinful activities, even to the extent of the killing of a Brahmana, which is considered the most sinful activity in the material world. One should be very eager to hear about the activities of the Lord from the bona fide source, the pure devotee. If one simply gives oral reception to the narration and accepts the glories of the Lord, then he is qualified. The impersonalist philosophers cannot understand the activities of the Lord. They think that all his activities are Maya. Therefore, they are called Mayavadis. Since everything to them is Maya, these narrations are not for them. Some impersonalists are reluctant to hear Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, although many of them are now taking interest in it just for monetary gain. Actually, however, they have no faith. On the contrary, they describe it in their own way. We should therefore not hear from the Mayavadis. We have to hear from Sutta Goswami or Maitreya, who actually present the narrations as they are, and only then can we relish the pastimes of the Lord. Otherwise, the effects on the neophyte audience will be poisonous.
Yo vai Hiranyākṣa mahadbhutam. Anyone who hears, chants, or takes pleasure in wonderful narrations of Hiranyākṣa performed by Adisukaraha, the firstborn incarnation, what happens? He will be relieved from the results of his sinful activities, even the killing of the Brahmana. So, performance of devotional service itself is a great punya in itself. Punya karma phalapradam. Right. So, here we can see, Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, the personality of Godhead is absolute, and there is no difference between his pastime and his personality. So, whenever we are discussing pastimes of the Lord, we are actually performing deity worship. There is no difference. There is no difference between reading Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, describing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and worshipping the deity or decorating the deity. Right? And therefore, anybody who takes pleasure in the pastimes of the Lord, directly associating with the Supreme Lord. And by that direct association of the Lord, when there is always a great purification. And therefore, and Prabhupada writes here, and thus one who associates with the Lord is freed from all sinful reactions, even up to the killing of Brahmana, Brahmavadatapi. Right. Killing of a Brahmana, killing of a cow is considered extremely sinful. But here, even all such sins are eradicated simply by hearing these pastimes of the Lord, and especially hearing this Hiranyākṣa mahadbhutam. And therefore, one should be very eager to hear the activities of the Lord. Only requirement is one should be hearing from the qualified personality, the bona fide source. And bona fide source, Prabhupada says, otherwise, there is a lot of narrations nowadays from Mayavadis. They consider everything Maya, Lord's form to be Maya, Lord's activities to be Maya, and therefore all they are living is Maya. Although Prabhupada says nowadays they are taking more interest in Bhagavatam considering the personal monetary gains. Right. So, but one has to be very careful that when he's hearing from such a personality as Sutta Goswami, Maitreya Muni, or in the disciplic succession properly, and then one will get the desired effect. Otherwise, the effect will be poisonous, as described by Sanatana Goswami. So we come to the final concluding verse of this chapter. Beautiful verse, very, very beautiful verse this is. Etan mahapunyamalam pavitram
Etan mahapunyamalam pavitram
Dhanyam yashasyam padamayurashisham
Dhanyam yashasyam padamayurashisham
Pranendriyanam yudhishaurya-vardhanam
Pranendriyanam
Shaurya-vardhanam.
yudhishaurya-vardhanam
Narayanante gatiranga shrunvatam
Narayanante gatiranga shrunvatam
Etan mahapunyamamalam pavitram
Etan
Mahapunyam
mahapunyam
Amalam
amalam
Pavitram.
pavitram
Dhanyam yashasyam padamayurisham
Dhanyam
Dhanyam
Yashyam
yashasyam
Padamayurashisham.
padamayurashisham
Pranendriyanam yudhishaurya-vardhanam
Pranendriyanam
Pranendriyanam
Yudhishaurya-vardhanam.
yudhishaurya-vardhanam
Narayanante gatiranga shrunvatam.
Narayanante
Narayanante
Gatiranga
gatiranga
Shrunvatam.
shrunvatam
Translation.
Most sacred narrative confers extraordinary wealth, fame, longevity, and all the objects of one's desire. On the field of battle, it promotes the strength of one's vital organs and organs of action. One who listens to it at the last moment of his life is transferred to the supreme abode of the Lord. Oh dear Shaunaka. Purport. Devotees are generally attracted by the narratives of the pastimes of the Lord, and even though they do not prosecute austerities or meditation, this very process of hearing attentively about the pastimes of the Lord will endow them with innumerable benefits, such as wealth, fame, longevity, and other desirable ends of life. If one continues to hear Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is full of narratives of the pastimes of the Lord, at the end of this life, one is sure to be transferred to the eternal transcendental abode of the Lord. Thus, hearers are benefited both ultimately and for as long as they are in the material world. That is the supreme sublime result of engaging in devotional service. The beginning of devotional service is to spare some time and listen to Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam from the right source. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also recommended 5 items of devotional service, namely to serve the devotees of the Lord, to chant Hare Krishna, to hear Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, to worship the deity of the Lord, and to live in a place of pilgrimage. Just performing these 5 activities can deliver one from the miserable condition of material life. Thus, name the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 3rd canto, 19th chapter of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, entitled The Killing of the Demon Hiryanaksa.
Etan, this narrative. Mahapunyam amalam. Mahapunyam conferring great merits. Amalam, very. Pavitram, very, very sacred and pure. Dhanyam, conferring wealth. Yashasyam, and fame. Padam, the respectable. Ayuhu, longevity. Ashisham, and other objects of one's desire. Pranendriyanam, yudhishaurya-vardhanam. Prana, Indriya, Adi. Yudhi, Shaurya-vardhanam. Yudhi means on the battlefield. Shaurya-vardhanam, increasing the strength. Narayanante gatiranga shrunvatam. O Anga, O Shaunaka. So this is being referred to Shaunaka Rishi and the sages. This most sacred narration confers, okay, so this is the confirmation, confirms extraordinary merit, wealth, fame, longevity, and all the objects of one's desire. On the field of battle, it promotes the strength of one's vital organs and organs of action. One who listens to it at the last moment of his life is transferred to the supreme abode of the Lord, O Shaunaka. So these are the miraculous effects of hearing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Right. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes that devotees are generally attracted to the narrations of the activities of the Lord. And they may not execute some severe austerities or penances. So, devotees are not very famous for doing some excessive tapasya, although devotees do a lot of tapasya. But they are more into the process of hearing very attentively. That is the tapasya for a devotee. And that is much bigger than the bodily tapasya, right? Hearing our own japa attentively, hearing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam attentively and consistently. And this will confer upon them the innumerable benefits such as wealth, fame, longevity, and other desirable objects in the life. And further, Srila Prabhupada says, if one continues to hear Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is full of the narrations of the pastimes of the Lord, at the end of the life, one is sure to be transferred to the eternal abode of Vaikuṇṭha. Thus, a devotee who is hearing these pastimes attains the benefits in this life and in the next. Real yogakshemam vahamyam, right? Jindagi ke saath bhi, jindagi ke baad bhi. All the benefits during the life and after the life. These are the sublime results of engaging in devotional service. Only thing Prabhupada says, the criteria here is that the knowledge and the hearing should happen from right source. It should not be contaminated by some vada and especially mayavad. Srila Prabhupada quotes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and these are the Pancha Mahasadhan of performing devotional service. And the 5 are to chant the holy names of the Lord, to serve the devotees, Vaishnava Seva, to hear Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, to worship the deity, Archavigraha Seva, and to go to the place of pilgrimage, Dhamavas. And just performing these 5 activities, actually one can deliver oneself from the miserable material condition of the life. So whenever we hear Falashruti, the mood of Falashruti is hearing the Falashruti is that first thing is Bhagavatam paradigm is based on Bhagavad Gita paradigm. Many times, people may just pick up this one paragraph and say, oh, what do you think that, simply by sitting and hearing, you will receive anything? So devotee will conduct his life on Bhagavad Gita paradigm. That is, the instructions of the Lord, who, he is imparting to Arjuna, and how one has to conduct oneself in the Varnashrama Dharma properly. And then, so Bhagavatam paradigm is based on the Bhagavad Gita paradigm. So this is very important. Bhagavatam paradigm is based on Bhagavad Gita paradigm. So we follow Bhagavad Gita in the life, and Bhagavatam, the pastimes of the Lord, and one is sure to be conferred with all these things as it is promise of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This life or the subsequent life. But as a devotee is not very greatly attracted to Falashruti, because that is contrary to the process of devotional service, which is defined as Anya Bilashita Shunyam, Jnana Karma Adi Anavritam, Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam Bhakti Uttama. So this is how we concluded the 19th chapter of 3rd Canto. So is there any quick discussion, question, comments? You are most welcome. Tomorrow we'll continue. We'll begin with the 20th chapter. And there is conversation between Maitreya and Vidura further continues. Thank you, Bhagavad. Thank you, Krishna.
Prabhuji, what is this first Boar incarnation? There's another second Boar incarnation also.
Yeah, we did discuss this. There is a Shveta Varāha and Rakta Varāha. So one Boar incarnation was there, so there are 2 times the Boar incarnation appears. And this is also being discussed that, one incarnation appears in the, the Swayambhu Manu's time and another at another time. And the one Boar incarnation appears simply because, the Bhumandala, after the night of Brahmaji on that particular kalpa, when the whole creation is regenerated, again taking place, that time the Bhumandala is not come up, from the Garbhodak ocean. So the first Boar, this Boar incarnation picks up the Bhumandala and places it on the water, and there is no fight between Hiranyaksha there. So there are two Boar incarnations. Yes.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Yeah, so we will conclude here for today and we'll continue tomorrow. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Prabhupada. Thank you,
thank you,
Prabhuji. Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Thank
Hare
you, everyone.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhupada.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Pranam, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.